Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now April 14th of 2022, and that means of course we're only getting closer to the official release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, as well as the full-length trailer for that series, which by the way, is all set and ready to drop by early May, and a lot of other promo images are prepared to drop in just 2 weeks' time. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that George, John, and Dave are all working together as a team to really bring Star Wars in a brand new direction, to really make Star Wars as best as possible, to really give fans that original energy that was once a part of the prequels and the originals, that the sequel trilogy unfortunately lacked. I mean, let's not deny this, that there was something missing out of the sequel trilogy movies, something about the Star Wars spirit that was not there. And when you look at everything related to what George had done with the originals and the prequels, even though the prequels get a bad rap by many fans, it still was Star Wars at its heart. It really had that magical feeling intact. So when we go ahead and look at what's been going on behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm with many other Star Wars projects that are now currently in the pipeline that are going to be released all the way up until 2025, they have a lot of things in the works that will be announced by this year's celebration and next year's Star Wars celebration. So they have a lot of announcements on the road to really fulfill the overall roadmap of the franchise. Now, with that being said, however, on top of all of this, one thing that a lot of fans have been very curious about is, of course, actor Pedro Pascal. Now, we already know that there's been a lot of drama behind the scenes involving Pedro Pascal, Disney CEO Bob Chapek, and others out there that have been associated with, of course, Disney Star Wars in general. However, one thing specifically that's really all the more intriguing has a lot to do with actor Karl Urban. Now, on top of all of this, with both Disney and Lucasfilm now preparing to develop their new Star Wars projects, such as the Ahsoka series, and even the 4th season of The Mandalorian, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are currently working on many unannounced Star Wars projects. However, many new developments have actually been happening behind the scenes with actor Pedro Pascal and the story of Djarin for one of the new projects that is set to expand the story. Now, as of now, Pedro Pascal is set to be replaced as Djarin for a new series that is set to release sometime during the end of 2024 to early 2025, the latest, that will revolve around Bo-Katan and Tar Vizsla with flashbacks. Now, actor Karl Urban is set to replace Pedro Pascal as Djarin. However, new developments have formed since. One is that Bo-Katan as a series is planned to have roughly 30 minutes of screen time for Djarin in the series that Karl Urban will play as without taking the helmet off at all. Many of Din's scenes are set to take place on Mandalore that Karl Urban will be involved in. The Bo-Katan show is already being written, and that most of it will take place on Mandalore, both in the present and in the past. However, the main reason as to why Pedro was replaced, besides the fact that he wanted to keep his helmet off, was also due to the lack of screen time for Djarin in this series. So let me just stop right here for 1 second before we get on to the more, involved material. Now, the thing about Pedro Pascal is that he's been going through this issue for years now. I mean, ever since The Mandalorian Season 1, he's wanted the helmet off more so than having it on. And that continued with Mando Season 2, and it even got involved more so with Season 3. This has been an ongoing thing by Pedro, and it's exactly why they dropped him with the Bo-Katan series and replaced him with Karl Urban. The thing is, we're probably not even going to notice a difference, to be honest, given that Karl Urban is set to not take the helmet off, or will have very minimal face time, if even that, in the actual show. So that's pretty much their way of solving that overall problem. I think that Karl Urban is great. He's done a great job in movies out there like Judge Dredd and other projects that he has been involved in. I mean, this guy's great. Let's not forget that he was also a part of the MCU. He was also in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker as a stormtrooper. Let's not forget about that. He had a very minor role, of course, but still involved in Star Wars in some way, shape, or form, which is probably how he got his foot in the door. I mean, it all really kind of fits together like a big piece of the puzzle. Now, when you look at everything related to this, though, Everything ranging from Pedro Pascal being a very overly demanding actor to pretty much giving Disney this ultimatum. If I don't have my FaceTime, then I'm leaving. That's basically what he gave Disney. And that's exactly what led Disney to pretty much having to bite the bullet and get somebody else. So, with that being said, Pedro Pascal felt that 30 minutes of screen time was very low for a character of his size in the series, and this led to further conflicts between Disney and Lucasfilm. Pedro Pascal wanted to and kept on demanding for at least 2 hours of screen time in the series. I don't know about you guys, but 2 hours of screen time is a lot of screen time for a character that is not necessarily meant to be a main character. Again, let's not forget that Djarin is supposed to be more around the lines of a surprise character. Not necessarily a cameo, but a surprise character in the series, kind of like the treatment that he got in the Boba Fett show. It's going to be very similar like that. So, with that being said, this led to further conflicts between Disney and Lucasfilm. Pedro, of course, kept on demanding for at least 2 hours of screen time as a whole. Disney did not want to move ahead with that, as this would take away the spotlight of Bo-Katan and Tar Vizsla in the series. The dynamic of the show is to bounce back and forth between the series. Of course, between present and the past. Karl Urban's version of Din Djarin is set to play an important and vital role for a big planned Mandalore scene that is also going to be teased for both Mando Season 3 and 4, and is set to involve a big story around the dark saber. So once again, this show is going to have a lot to do with that weapon. Keep that in mind. Now, beyond all of that, both Jon and Dave Filoni are set to be heavily involved in the Bo-Katan show, featuring Katie Sackhoff and other new characters coming into play. They plan to begin filming the series sometime in the beginning of 2024, and is going to be listed as a limited series only for Disney Plus, and will be announced next year in early 2023. So far, Pedro Pascal has already signed on to Mandalorian Season 4, however, has already requested to have some face time in the series, which Disney is now allowed to an extent, but nothing too significant. It's unclear exactly when the Bo-Katan series takes place, but is set after the events of Mando Season 4, for the fans to witness a new age of Mandalore. Now, keep in mind that this show specifically is going to be a very involved process. It's going to have a lot of characters from Mandalorian Season 2, 3, and 4, and it's going to also have a lot of new characters coming into fruition. For example, we're going to have the first appearance of Tar Vizsla, the character that was both a Mandalorian and a Jedi, and the creator of the dark saber. Alright? So that's going to be the past stories in the Bo-Katan series. The present will have a lot to do with Bo-Katan herself. The thing about Pedro Pascal, alright, and I've said this numerous times, alright, I don't mind him necessarily as Din Djarin, but I feel that him as an actor gets very frustrating because of how overly demanding he is, how he causes a lot of conflicts on set, how he causes a lot of issues for Disney and Lucasfilm to figure things out. That's exactly why, believe it or not, Mando Season 3 had a very minor delay in production in the very beginning stages, because it also had to do with a very similar problem like this that was eventually resolved. So, given that that is all now settled, we can obviously see that there is a great possibility that this could very well happen with other projects, but so far Karl Urban is only replacing Pedro Pascal strictly for the Bo-Katan series, so just keep that in mind as well. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.